hi guys, I'm here with Krige Schabort. Did I get that right there?
Man, you slaughtered it, but no, you did. That's pretty close. In my home language, you would say, in Afrikaans, you would say Krige Schabort. But the way you said it was actually perfect for our audience.
All right, thank you. I've been working on that all week. So I told you a little bit about myself there before the interview. So I guess, can you tell us a little bit about yourself that we might not know?
Well, first, I'm honored. I'm
Thank
honored
you.
for a young man like you have the guts and confidence to interview an old guy like me, especially a guy that uses wheels for legs, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for the audience here as well. You guys are right on. Yeah, we need an applause. Yes, thank you. Thanks. To tell a little bit about myself, without telling a lie, I gotta tell the truth now, right? Because I have an audience that knows the truth. So I am originally from South Africa, which, as you know, is far from here. You know, if you have the continent Africa, South Africa is way down at the bottom there. I was born and raised there. We actually just looked at some photos of the waves there today, actually right now. The waves are pumping. You know, it's a place called Cool Bay. And I used to surf there. Yeah, I used to surf there many years ago. So, and we surfed here this morning, and we were going to go back surfing today as well. Believe it or not, but I still surf. A lot of people think, you know, because you're in a wheelchair, there's no way you can paddle for a wave or swim or whatever. But I still surf. Not like I used to, of course. But anyway, back to where I'm from. A little bit of history there. So born and raised in South Africa, and then I went to school there as well. And way back in those days when I went to school, all the young boys had to go join the military.
Oh,
had
really?
to join the army. Yeah, you didn't have a choice. You had, because the country was in a war. So all the boys had to join the military, and I joined the military in 1982. You remember those days, right?
Yeah.
1982.
Yeah. Just like yesterday.
It's like yesterday for us. For us guys, yeah. They won't understand it. I joined the military, and then during my time that I served in the military, I was a little bit too close to the enemy, or would I say the enemy came too close to me. So fighter jets from the enemy fighter jets, they flew over us, and they dropped their bombs. And one of the bombs actually came down. I didn't see it coming down. It came down and it fell about 2 yards away from me, like right there. And I remember going up in the air. I did like a backward somersault, and I fell on my back. And as I fell on my back, I realized, I'm in trouble. And that's when I realized those jets up there wasn't our own little planes. It was enemy jets. Long story short, because I'm still alive, I made it through it, and I went to hospital, and then I started taking up wheelchair racing. Wheelchair racing was part of my my journey, or my adventure from South Africa to the United States. This country is where it happens.
Yeah.
So in 1996 we moved here, and I've raced professional for a long time. I've been to 6 Olympic Games, and so I basically have done it all. You know, I've been doing marathons, and I've been doing triathlons. But now it's just nice to look back and enjoy talking about the history, and for you guys to make history as well.
Yeah. So I'm going to start off here with a little bit of a tough question. So as you mentioned, you lost your legs in the South African War. So What struggles did you have after the loss of your legs?
Oh, many. If I can name a few that I still suffer from, first of all, when you lose something, your arm or leg, whatever, it's a big adjustment, right? So all of a sudden, from using something you always had, like your limbs, and then all of a sudden not have it, was tough, right? But luckily nowadays, we have wheelchairs and we have things that can help you go and at least go around the obstacles in life. Of course, it was painful, right? That was a struggle. But I think one of the toughest ones, and that I still have, is phantom pains. Have you ever heard of a phantom pain?
No, not really.
Okay, so let me explain to you what a phantom pain is. It is like what it says, phantom. So we're sitting here and I can still feel my feet.
You can?
Yeah, I can feel my feet. You see this 4 fingers there? There's number 5. I'm missing that finger. I can still feel this finger here. So the nerves are still here that used to go down to my feet. And I think that is one of the toughest struggles to handle if those phantom pains really get bad. So if I, for instance, sit on the floor for a long time, or if I irritate the nerves in my leg, that when it hits back, when it hits back, it comes back hard. It's like pliers or a burn in my foot, and it feels like it's grabbing and it's spinning in it and it's pulling it, and it go on for about 10 seconds, and it's gone. But in that 10 seconds, I would, oh, and people would, what's going on? What's up with you? And that's when the phantom pain hits me. So yeah.
So how did you get into the Paralympics?
First of all, hard training, as you can think. As a wheelchair racer, when I was in the hospital, part of your treatment in the hospital is your therapist would take you. It's the job of a therapist, like a physical therapist, occupational therapist, to take you to different events or sporting events so they can introduce you to, because I didn't know of any wheelchair racing then. No, I didn't know. I only thought, running was the only thing and surfing was the only thing for me. And so that she took me to an event that was a track event, a regular track event for athletics, but it was for wheelchair racers. So I watched these guys go around the track. Man, it looked awesome, and that's how I started. And then I first raced in a regular old hospital chair, and then I started making my first homemade chair at home with some friends that helped me. And then eventually the military realized, okay, this guy, he really wants to do it, so he's training hard. And then the military bought me a chair, and that's how I started getting better and went to events, international events, and eventually I qualified for the first Olympic Games or Paralympic Games. So I competed 4 times for South Africa and then another 2 times for the United States.
Wow, that is really an amazing story there. So you got on the podium in the 1992 Paralympics. So walk us through the race and being able to get on the podium there.
Oh, wow, okay. It's long ago, but it's still fresh in my mind. It's one of those times that you feel like there's very few things in life that can beat a medal at the Paralympic or the Olympic Games. 3 days before that race, I did the 5,000 meters on the track in Barcelona in 1992. So in the final of the 5,000 meters, the 5,000 meters is about 12 and a quarter laps on the track. And in the final lap, we were 15 guys bunched together. One guy fell off a little bit, he was a little bit behind us, but 15 bunched, and there was 1 lap to go, and I was in the front 4, one of the front 4 guys. So I was in a good spot for a medal. And as you hit the curve, one of the guys made a mistake, and the whole bunch of us, we crashed. We all crashed except the 2 guys that was in the lead. they made it around the curve, and it was the number 1 and 2 was the gold and silver, and way in the back was the guy from Italy, and he got the bronze medal. And he was so happy because he went ding 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 around all these guys, and he was never gonna get a medal, but because we crashed, he had a medal. And then I dislocated my shoulder in that crash.
Oh wow.
So I thought, there was no chance I can do the marathon. And you're asking about the marathon now. So 3 days later, I somehow, we got it okay again, and I was okay to race. I lined up for the marathon. Never expected to do, really well. And during that race, things just started coming together. And I just remember seeing stars sometime. I feel like, oh man, I just cannot go anymore. I cannot go any harder. I'm not gonna make it. And then I just push myself, a little bit more, until I realized I'm in a group of 4 guys only, 4 guys together. So for the last 15 miles out of 26 miles, we were 4 guys racing together. And here it comes. So how many medals do you get in a race? Only 3, right? 3.
Yeah.
And we're 4 guys. So one of us is not going to get a medal, and that's a tough thing about the Olympics. You don't always go for time. You just want to go for that medal, and that finish line is coming closer and closer to us and closer to us. And how can I respond at the right time? Race smart and save yourself a little bit for that last 200 yards, because that's where it happens. And the guy that was the world champion at that time is a Swiss athlete. His name is Heinz Frey. Heinz Frey, he went first, and he attacked hard, man. And we knew if Heinz goes, it's going to be hard for us. And Heinz went. And then the Frenchman was next to me, and he went as well. And I passed the Frenchman. And then the US guy, so it was a South African, a French, a Dutch, and a Swiss. A US athlete and a Swiss. And so I was in second place for a while there, and then the Frenchman slowly inched, and he just got me. And then it was between me and the US athlete, Scott Dollenbeck, and I know him very well now. It was between me and him for the medal, and it was like this, and then at the final last little bit, I just had that hair of a distance on him, and I'm telling you, that medal, it was a bronze medal, right? 3rd place. It felt like a gold medal to me, because I raced so hard for it. It was an amazing feeling, and also I think it was an amazing feeling because I felt like I didn't have a chance. So never throw yourself in the back of the car or under the truck if you are in the race. Anything can happen, right? And that's what I learned from that race. I still gave my best, and since that bronze medal that I won, that's when the sport really opened up for me, because that was my first big medal at a prestigious event.
Yeah, so that's really a crazy story there. Like, really, it sort of sounded like a movie thing. It kind of reminded me a bit of Rudy, how it's like, oh, he's gonna make it, and then just edges it out at the end.
Exactly how it felt.
So you, in 1998, won the IPC World Championship, 10,000 meters. Just what did it feel like? That was your first major victory, and just what was that feeling like? Well,
that race was in England, in Birmingham, England, and United Kingdom, and that race was crazy. The 10,000 on the track is 25 laps. You go for 25 laps, and I remember trying to get away, because I had a lot more confidence, and I knew I could break away from some athletes, and I tried to break away. I open a gap, and then they catch up with me again. In wheelchair racing, we slipstream, so it's like cycling, where you or indie racing, where you do slipstreaming, the car slipstream. So the guys, every time when I broke away, they worked together and they caught up with me again. And I can't remember if it was in the 5,000, it was in the 10,000, yes, in that race. So we crossed the finish line, the whole pack of us, we were 12 athletes together. We crossed the finish line all at the same time, basically in a split second time. And it was between me and an athlete from Mexico, my most fierce, he was basically my enemy. And me and Saul Mendoza, we couldn't handle each other. I basically always felt like if Saul is in a race, I'm ready to, take him out. Not physically with a fist, but that's how you feel. And he felt the same about me. And we crossed the finish line and we waited. There was no result. We didn't know who won. And we waited for 20 minutes.
Wow.
20 minutes. They went back to the camera and they said, I won. I beat him by a thickness of a hair.
Wow.
Poor Saul, he was so angry at me. He couldn't, but there was times that he did the same to me. So this was so that victory felt like crazy great. Because not only because I beat my competitor, but because I beat Saul Mendoza. But Saul Mendoza is an amazing athlete. Me and him, we are good friends now. But a lot of times when even if you are good friends, you get on the track, then it's then it's business.
Yeah.
But off the track, you are find friends again. But that was a great victory, one of the best memories I've ever had, and also just feels like a little bit of a film played off in front of me.
Yeah, and so I gotta ask now, after hearing all these places you've been, what is your favorite place in the world that you've gotten to visit?
I would say right here with you. one of the favorites, because I'm here with my family, and we went surfing this morning, and but if you take it to where a visit, or if I have to race somewhere, I would say Hawaii, because I've done Honolulu Marathon 16 times.
Wow.
And the reason why I go back for it is because I enjoy it so much. You can just think, have you ever been to Hawaii?
No.
You haven't been in Hawaii? It is like paradise. And then I've done it. I enjoyed it so much that I went back and I did the Kona Ironman as well 2 times there. And Kona is in the Big Island. So I was prepared to suffer 2.5 mile swim.
Wow.
112 miles on the bike, and then another 26 miles in the racing chair. So it takes you a good part of a day to finish that race.
Wow.
But to do it in a place like in the middle of the Pacific Ocean is just, there's magic to it.
Yeah, I have never been to Hawaii. I got anxiety, so I don't with planes. I don't really plan on going, but I've heard it's great. That sounds like a tremendous experience.
Well, it won't be long, and they're gonna shoot rockets from it. You can go with Elon Musk, and they're gonna go. You don't have to fly in a plane. You just go in space and land there. With all your interviews, you're gonna make enough money to.
So in 2011, you broke the Ironman World Championship world record. So how were you able to manage to do that, and just explain the feeling of being able to own a world record, because that's not something many of us can say.
That is the story I was telling you now. In Hawaii, that's the one that the Kona Ironman. Let me tell you about this race. It is amazing. It is amazing to swim 2.5 miles in the Pacific Ocean, and then do 12 miles on a bike. But for a lot of these events like this, you can be physically well prepared. You can be ready for it, and you can feel strong. You've done a lot of training for it. But if you haven't done the mental training, if you haven't done the visualization and you prepare yourself mentally, then it's almost impossible to finish it. So if you and it's the other way around as well. You can prepare yourself mentally for a race, but if you don't train hard enough for it again, that's you need all those things to come together. So for that race, it took me a couple of years to prepare for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to qualify for it because it's the World Championship. You cannot just go there; you have to qualify for it. But if you know what burnt toast look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you take bread, you put it in the toaster, you leave it there for too long, and you take, it looks dry, and if you take it out and you drop it, it's brittle, it just breaks, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that. Now, it's not bread anymore, you know. So that's what I felt like when I crossed the finish line. Because you're in the sun all day long. For 10 hours, you're in the sun. 9.5 hours. It took me that long. But you know, even though you feel like old, brittle, burnt toast, being in the sun all day, it doesn't really make a difference there, winning or second or third, just the feeling of completing it.
Mm-hmm.
All that miles on the road was, that was one of the feelings that you almost cannot describe, compared with an Olympic marathon. Although the Olympics is so big, the stage is so big, because you have cameras and TV and interviews at Olympic. The stage is a little bit smaller at Kona, but just because you feel like you've done so many miles and you've completed it, that feeling is, it also just goes with you forever.
Yeah, and so when you're talking about these races, you're talking a lot about being prepared. So how do you prepare mentally and physically for these races?
Well, mentally is part of that they go close together, right? So first, if you don't stress your body enough to be able to handle those long events, you're not going to be able to do it. But mentally, also, if you don't prepare yourself, for instance, my mental preparation was for Kona, for the Ironman Championship, was I went there the year before, and I swam in the ocean there. I swam part of the route we would do. I went on my bike and I trained on the route we would do. I drove, not the whole way, but I rented a car and I drove the whole course.
Wow.
So mentally I prepared myself, I visualized myself, and I made maps and where these hills would be and where the tough areas, where it's usually windy. So that is really a big part of the preparation, is knowing where you're going. And then you go home, and then I picked some areas where I could feel, okay, that road there, I think that is very close to where I'm going to race in Kona. So I'm going to do a lot of training in that road because there's a lot of up and down. And then I also trained a whole lot in the heat, because I know it was going to be very hot. So when I arrived in Kona, mentally I was ready for it because I knew I could do it in training.
Yeah.
And then I had to bring all those factors together and just hope I'm not going to get sick or whatever. But in a race like Kona, I drank a gallon of fluids. So a gallon is quite a bit, maybe even more than a gallon.
Yeah.
And I ate peanut butter sandwiches, I ate bananas, I ate energy bars all along the way. And I still lost about 7 pounds.
Wow.
After all, because they weigh you before the race, and then after the race they weighed me as well, because I crossed the finish line and I was like, if I had to stand on my feet, I would have been over. Luckily I had wheels underneath me. And then they weighed me again, and because I was lost so much weight, they give you an IV, and the IV's got fluids in and electrolytes, and that quickly balanced things out again. But I think there's no bigger mental preparation than a race like an Ironman.
Yeah, and so now you've won all these medals, gone to the Paralympics. Those are high honors, and you won one of the highest honors in sports. You've won an ESPY for Male Athlete of the Year with a Disability. You were nominated in 2007, won in 2015. Just walk us through being able to win such a big award and having that honor.
Oh yeah, thank you. And in 2007, it totally came by surprise. You know, I didn't see it coming, and they call you and they say, you know, you've been nominated for this award. We're gonna send tickets to you, so blah 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 blah, and be in at the airport at this time. We fly you to Los Angeles in the Staples. No, that was in the Kodak Arena actually, and that's where the awards was. And actually, by then we had to bring our children with, and it just so happened that Mr. Anthony, they were still in San Diego, so we flew to them and we dropped our kids off there. And the limo actually picked us up from Los Angeles at their house, and the limo took us all the way to, and we were just sitting nicely back in the limo in air conditioning and right there. And then the big stage, of course, where there was a lot of actors, so you feel like for that couple of hours you really feel grand, man, because it's the red carpet is out for you.
Yeah.
And it's just cameras flashing on you, and it's your moment. You feel like you arrived. So yeah, it was just amazing to be nominated. Then I didn't win it then, but then in 2015 I was nominated again. But you know, the ESPYs is it's like more a popularity award. So if you're good, you're good, right? You can be nominated, but you still have to not be popular in the sense that people like you, but you have to hit the social media hard. So you have to go out there and put your name out on social media, because then your audience or your public, like folks there, they have to vote for you.
Yeah.
So they have to vote for you, and you don't know until that last minute, because they do voting until the last day. They open it for voting. So, and every day people can vote. You can vote multiple times. So we did really a lot of Facebook and Instagram and all the social media. So you know, and by the time I arrived there, I felt, you know, whether I'm going to win it or not, I'm just going to enjoy the moment again. And then voila, they called my name and they said, yes, it's all yours, buddy. And I had that big award, and that was a very, very special feeling. It's one of those things that you felt like you've worked hard for, but you also didn't work hard for, right? It's not like a mental preparation for it.
Yeah.
You just go have fun, and then it is, in a sense, like you've done so many work in the years past, and you feel like you get rewarded for all that hard work. And no, it was great. And that ESPY award is one of the awards that I always have showcased, where I can see it all the time, and I can feel, you know, think back of it, because it is very special.
Yeah, and so I gotta ask, these acceptance speeches, how many people did you thank?
Oh yeah. It first started with my dog Wendy. No, you gotta go back and thank first for all the voters, right? Because if you of course, you know, you have to thank ESPN because it's their award, but you know, all the people that support you during voting. And then it comes back closer to you. It's your close family and your friends. And but how many people voted for me, I have no idea. I will never know. But I made sure that that I had the message out, that I was very thankful to everyone.
Yeah, and with the ESPYs, there's a whole lot of people there. Like, so were you ever starstruck at all at the ESPYs, seeing, you know, athletes, actors that, you know, you see all the time on TV?
Yeah, it was really a different world to me, you know, because I'm used to go to events where I see, you know, athletes, but there it was a little bit different. You see because a lot of actors are invited as well, because a lot of actors are in Hollywood anyway, and they want to come support their favorite athletes. So that was a little bit uncomfortable for me. If I went to the restrooms, and as I came back, the only way back from me was in front of the main stage. And was it Ethan Hawke and I can't remember who the athletes was. Madonna was there as well, but all people that was just you're not used to seeing their faces just walking right by them.
Yeah.
On the other hand, they're just normal people, right?
Yeah.
But just because we all make such a big fuss about them, it does feel a little bit uncomfortable when you go by them. And for the moment there, I have to say, you feel like, I'm also I'm in this group, so yeah, you feel like you're a celebrity for a minute, but when I get back home again, I'm just the next door neighbor.
And so, you've gone to all around Europe, England, Barcelona. What are those places like? And I gotta ask, are they overrated or underrated?
Good question. Yeah. Overrated or underrated? They're all rated. You're right. No, there's some of them. Some of the cities and the countries that's really amazing. A city like Barcelona is great, but I wouldn't say it's underrated or overrated. To me, it's just a normal city. If I think of places that I go that is underrated, is somewhere where you go to Switzerland in the mountains. It's called the Matterhorn. It's the most beautiful mountain in the world to me. Matterhorn, it's a big mountain that just just continues up and up and up. And you don't go on it. You go with the cable cars to the sides of it, and you can see it from every direction. Those kind of things to me are totally underrated, just because it's so majestic and so beautiful.
Yeah.
But the cities, to me, a city is a city. Although you get beautiful cities, but I traveled the first time when I went to Europe. I was still young, and I just grabbed my racing chair, and I had a big box, and I traveled to Europe for 6 months.
Wow.
All by myself, my racing chair, and my everyday wheelchair. And I went from race to race to race, and I didn't even know sometimes where I was going to sleep tonight. But my passion to race internationally was so strong that I felt like, I don't care if I sleep, because sometimes I slept in the airport, and sometimes I slept in a youth hostel that I had to crawl on the floor, a wet floor that was nasty and stinky, to get to the showers. So it was, but it was all worth it, because it made me realize now that I'm blessed. I'm blessed beyond all that. Now I don't do it anymore. Now I like a plastic key, like a hotel room key, with my own bathroom. So I don't do the camp style anymore. But it was a school to me that showed me the way to, I would say, to success over the long term.
So we know you so far as you've had a very interesting life. We know you now as a Paralympian, surfer, you travel the world. What are some of your other hobbies that we might not know about?
Oh, yeah. I like to go watch a good movie. I love good movies, and I like to sit in a big old chair that I can kick back with aircon, with a nice big popcorn and with my kids next to me. That's one of my happiest moments. Another thing that I do like is just to go adventure out on weekends with my family, camping.
Yeah.
Camping. I do like to work with my hands. I've got a workshop where I tinker with all the kind of equipment, and I like to make new things. I just stay busy with life.
So now we've gotten to know a lot about you, and I just thought I'd finish off the interview. I will play a little game at the end. So I'd like to ask you some would you rather questions. These are usually pretty fun, so you up for it?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. So would you rather stay indoors and watch a movie or go out and go surfing?
No, surfing.
All right. would you rather eat Italian food or Mexican food?
Italian.
And then the last one, I have to go, would you rather play a board game or a video game?
Video game.
Yes, agreed. So,
Are they all good? Were they all right? Did I get 100%?
Yes.
Oh,
you
good.
did.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I want to hear.
So, yeah, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. It was great getting to talk with you.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for asking me.
Yeah, so that's going to do it, and thanks for watching.